Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. On the channel now we're going to start doing a series of different interviews. Interviews with our sponsors and the affiliates of Team Nemesis. So it's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to learn some things, learn some history of companies, and hopefully you guys have heard of all these companies. If not, I don't know why, but you're going to. So I got the first interviewee all queued up and ready to go. So let's get to that. It's Shawn from Ntensity Customs. So enough of me just sitting here talking to you guys. Let's start the interview. So let's cue the intro. Let's go. Well, welcome. I am here with Shawn, owner of Ntensity Customs. How are you, Shawn?
I'm doing well. How are you doing? Thanks for having me.
Not too bad. Thanks for coming on. It's always good having you on the channel.
Yeah, I love being here. It's odd not to be doing it in a tent with a drink in my hand, but we'll give this a shot.
Yeah, we'll see how well this goes. Like you said, yeah, it is different with not doing it with a drink, but we'll give it a shot. So for people who don't know, could you give us a brief history of yourself in paintball, as in a player and as in the industry itself?
Sure. Well, I've been around a little while. I first played in 1987, actually not too far from you at Flag Swipe Paintball, when Bill Strachey owned the field. And played there on and off for about a year and a half, and then I lived in Sarnia, Ontario, which is a border town for those who don't know. So I sort of jumped over to the States shortly after that and played a little bit of competitive paintball over there. In the early 90s, I didn't really drop out. I played less frequently because I went to school and sort of real life took over for a couple of years. But when I got out of school, I found that I really missed it and wanted to get back involved. So I started a field locally, a field in the pro shop, and ran that for a number of years. And then again, as careers started kicking in and that sort of stuff, I sold that and then just played basically anywhere I could. Through the early 2000s, played in the CXPL as it sort of came in and went away, and then decided in the probably 2010, 2011, sort of started looking back towards the States because that's sort of where the cool stuff was happening. And we built the first regularly traveling Canadian team to go down to the States in a number of years, which is, as you know, that's very commonplace now. And through that, managed to make lots of really great industry connections. Dwayne Summers Hayes, who was working for Key Action Sports at the time, was super helpful in helping make those connections. And we sort of rode that all the way along through the NPPL, through the PSP, through the NXL. Had all levels from divisional all the way up to pro, that sort of stuff. And lucky enough to meet lots of really cool people along the way and get to do lots of really cool things on all sides as a player, sort of behind the scenes helping develop products. I'm lucky in my 30 plus years to have literally been on every side, from being just an amateur player to playing some pro events, to designing products at the industry level, to running fields and stores. So I've got a really neat perspective on how the industry works, and it's been fun.
Yeah, it definitely sounds like you've had your hands in everything, which is cool. You have it in both areas, in the playing aspect of it and the business aspect of it. It seems cool anyway. I could be completely wrong.
I'm too stupid to go away. That's the problem.
That's one way to put it. Yeah, I guess we all are a little. So for people who don't know, what is Ntensity Customs?
So maybe start with a little bit of history. In 2006, we were going down to play in the States, sort of for the first time in the PSP, and I was looking to have some T-shirts made for my team, but nobody wanted to make like 7 or 8 T-shirts. So I started, literally printing T-shirts on the floor of my kitchen. My wife loved it. It was amazing. We had 2 young kids at the time. They were into everything and made a huge mess. It was awesome. And then it was like, well, hey, where'd you get those done? Can you do some shirts for me? And then she basically said, listen, you need to figure out a better way to do this because you're not going to do this on my kitchen floor because it sucks. So we ended up converting the garage at our old house into a small little studio, and just small job by small job, the business grew from screen printing to embroidery. I mean, I remember starting with one of those little brother at home embroidery machines, and I was like so stoked that we spent like $4,000 on this little machine, and it was amazing. I had to do one color at a time, and it was horrible looking back. But at the time, it was super, super cool, right? I was so excited. I can do my own baseball hats now. This is amazing. And then we did that for a number of years, and again, through making good connections and obviously, in our opinion, doing a good job, the word sort of spread, and we expanded the product line. And then in 2011, we were having trouble getting jerseys done. So I thought, what's going to be involved in doing this? So we bought a small sublimation printer, small being a 24-inch sublimation printer, not knowing that a 24-inch sublimation printer is not big enough to actually make jerseys on. So, those sort of making mistakes and learning as you go things. Quickly realized that we couldn't do what we wanted to do, so that went back in on trade-in, and we went up to a 60-inch printer. And we were literally making the jerseys out of the garage. We would print them and sublimate them in the garage. I'd take them to my mom's house, she'd sew them together. And things sort of started taking off, getting bigger and bigger. And before I knew it, my mom was like, hey, I'm going to retire. And I'm like, that's great. You've worked your whole career. She's like, no, from making your stuff. It's too much. I need to stop. So I thought, well, I guess I'm going to have to hire some people. So we went through those steps. And, for a lot of years, we just dumped everything we made back into the business and tried to expand it. And we were always sort of cautious about sort of stepping outside the box, right? So we did, strictly paintball stuff, jerseys, shorts, t-shirts, just the basic stuff. And then, we were sort of pushed to step outside that box a little bit. And, in the sort of 2013 area, we helped Empire Paintball develop the first skull masks. And again, that was an awesome learning opportunity because, we built the prototypes for them. They looked badass. They went through quality control. They held up, and we're like, perfect. Now let's make a bunch of these. So we made a bunch of them, and the process didn't scale. So when they went through quality control, they didn't pass, right? So that's sort of the story behind those. But it was a good experience to learn about how stuff scaled, and sometimes biting off more than you can chew just because it's cool. But as things started to get bigger, we kind of wanted to develop more things, and we were lucky to be able to do that under different brands. We developed lots of different playing gear for different companies. Chances are you've probably, if you've been playing paintball for a while, you're probably already wearing something that we make, you just don't know it. I'm obviously not going to talk about that specifically because it's private label, and if those people wanted people to know, they would tell you. But in 2019, we sort of had the opportunity to step away from what we were doing for everybody else and sort of come out and do our own thing. So we looked at what we wanted to do. And my whole thing was if we couldn't do something better or different than what was already out there, I didn't want to do it, right? So we, one of the, and we'll talk about it in a little bit about sort of what's coming down the pipe, but, for a lot of years, we didn't make things that we could have made just because it was already out there, and I was happy using what was already out there. I'm not looking to dilute the market. But as we found better ways to make things and to make stuff that worked better for what we wanted to do, we started to make more stuff. And a great example of that is the pack. Obviously you and I have played together for a long time, and you can speak firsthand of that pack going through probably 15 or 16 different versions to get to the point where the Devastate pack was finally able to be released, right? And that's, it just always needed a little bit of tweaking until we got to the point where we built a pack specifically for Woodsball that, will work for Speedball, but is really built for scenario ball. You're not losing pods. You can carry a full pack for final battle, and it doesn't bounce around on you. And it holds up to the abuse that the Woods gives it. So little things like that. So we started doing pants and sort of more of a full body thing, sort of head to toe stuff. And then we were lucky enough to, do really well at that for a couple of years. Obviously in 2020, the pandemic hit and put everything on its ear. So that gave us an opportunity to sort of step back and decide really, what we wanted to be and where we wanted to go. And one of the things that I always knew that I didn't want to be was somebody who just carried everything, right? I mean, anybody can fill out a dealer application and sell whatever product they want, right? And that's not what I wanted to be. I wanted to make sure that if we're doing anything that wasn't Intensity Custom stuff, that stuff that we made or were responsible for the manufacture of, that we were partnering with people that shared a like vision. And that is, paintball, we can debate this part, but people like to say, paintball is a sport. Paintball is entertainment. And if it's not fun, it doesn't really matter what you're doing or those sort of things, right? So I wanted to partner with people who are about that sort of mentality, that, it was a fun first. Winning's cool, but you know what? The fact is we all got to go to work on Monday, or at least most of us have to go to work on Monday.
Yeah.
So I wanted to make sure we were doing something that, that we enjoyed, in addition to being proud of. So, we started looking for people who were fitting in, and that's where, initially the Colbys at IMMORTAL. I mean, the Colbys are obviously an iconic name in paintball, but they're good people as well. And that's, having conversations with them and looking to maybe expand the line a little bit. They were a natural fit. We were pointed in the right direction. We both believe the same things. And they work really hard to put out a superior product at a great price, which is something that's important to us. So a natural fit. And then having the opportunity to run into the guys from MacDev. And that was a cool fit as well. And again, we'll talk about MacDev in a little bit, but again, a natural fit, right? They're definitely not the biggest guy on the block. Half the people in paintball probably don't even know who the heck they are. And that's okay. I like that. I like the building a brand piece. But we really have turned into, carrying more than just our own stuff. But we don't sell anything we don't use, right? We don't, we're not looking to compete with the big guys or that sort of stuff. We want to make your stuff, and we want to do it better than anybody else. And we want you to be happy. We want you to come up at an event and be like, the stuff is amazing. I love it. And that's my favorite part of going to events, right? Is that FaceTime we get with people who bought product and are like, this is badass, or they bring their friends over to look at the new headbands or that sort of stuff. So sort of a long answer to the what is Intensity Customs question, but we make lots of cool stuff. We sell lots of good stuff, but moreover, it's I want to promote that lifestyle where you're out having a good time with your friends, and there's lots of time in life to be serious and to worry about paying the bills and to worry about what you got to do during the week. And when you're spending lots of your own good hard-earned money at a paintball field, that's not the time, right? You should be out there having a blast, and everything else should melt away. And if it doesn't, you're probably in the wrong spot.
Yeah.
So we try to promote that from everything, not just our gear, but the way we set up our compounds, to the way we treat our players. We want people to be excited to see each other. We want them to be like, oh, I can't wait to see these guys this weekend. It's going to be a blast. And I think this year, being the first real year we've been out on our own without any sort of factory sponsorship, I think it's really, we've been successful at that.
Yeah, and I can speak, especially playing together and everything, I can definitely speak about that with the atmosphere is, yes, it is a lot of work, but it doesn't feel like it. Like everybody says that if you enjoy what you do, it doesn't feel like work. And like setting up the compound and getting everything ready to have people come over, that part's still getting used to, of having people coming over and talking that you don't know. But at the end of the weekend, though, you're good. You just made another good friend with somebody else that you didn't have a clue who was earlier that day.
Yeah.
So
and that's my favorite part. I don't even care if they buy anything. Obviously, I'd like them to buy things. We're a business. We are here to make money. There's no, there's no denying that. But the fact is I would rather build a relationship with somebody and then them buy something based on trust than, just because I happen to be the cool guy at the table, right?
Yeah.
And there's lots of that out there. There's lots of companies who make crappy stuff, but they're the cool guys, so they sell lots of it. And I never want to be that guy.
Yeah, and that's good, because that is, you hit the nail on the head on that one for sure. Yeah. So the big question which you brought up there, the 2 points, MacDev and IMMORTAL in Canada now.
Yeah.
What does that
Right.
mean for the Canadian player?
Well, so immortalair, we're currently the only immortalair dealer in Canada. So what we do is we take care of the import tax and that sort of stuff for you. So when you're buying from us, you don't have any of those crazy fees that you have to pay at the border or anything like that. What you see on our website is the price plus the shipping. There's no confusion pieces. Now, I will probably a little segue here. Our website is in American dollars, and the reason we chose to do that, it was funny. We had a very, very long debate about that whole piece. And part of the reason we chose to do that is because it's really hard for Canadians to compare apples to apples. Because if I put an immortalair tank on my website for $345, it's the exact same price as $279 US, but it looks like it's a lot more money, right? One's just a Canadian dollar. So what we decided to do was put everything on the site in US dollars, but if you're shipping to a Canadian address, we actually have a code you can use that will give you a discount automatically. So you're going to save some money. You're not going to pay the import fees. And that goes for any product on the site, not just the MacDev and the immortalair stuff. And the coupon code is OCanada. It's on the website. You just got to look for the Canadian customers button, and it'll take you right to it. But so we're hoping that, you know, in my opinion, MacDev makes immortalair makes the best tank on the market. They're crazy light. They're compact for the size of air that you're getting. The regs are bulletproof, and the support is top notch. And then, you know, that was one of the other things in partnering with the Colbys, is we wanted to make sure we could support the product up here. So they provided full dealer kits and some training. So if you have a problem with your immortalair reg, either come see us at an event, or, you know, we can arrange to have the stuff shipped to us and we can get it fixed and back out to you. And you know what? Again, this is one of the things that I really liked about them. Is the first time I met them, they were working on a competitor's reg, right? Because it wasn't working. They could have easily said, "Oh, this isn't going to work. You got to buy one of our regs." But I watched them go take apart the reg, clean it, get it going, get it back to the guy, handed it back to him, and didn't charge him a dime, right? And he's like, "Hey, go enjoy your weekend." I'm like, that's the vibe that I wanted. We've done the same thing, right? People come up with broken regs. They don't have money or don't want to spend the money on a new reg. I'm not going to send them away. You know, that comes out of our pocket, but it makes a better experience. MacDev is, for those who don't know, is based out of Australia. And they make some really, really good product. But frankly, and completely honestly, in Canada, it has a pretty bad rap because for years there just hasn't been any service. So if you needed a part, it came from Australia. So you waited months to get a part. And that's no fun, right? So one of the things that we talked about when we decided to take over the exclusive distributorship, so if you're a dealer or a store and you want to carry MacDev, we're sort of your connection for that. But we wanted to make sure that we had all the parts to service everything. So if it's a current model, clone or sort of newer, we have parts for it in stock. So there is no waiting for stuff to come in. We have certified techs here. And as a matter of fact, we're, you know, I think probably in the near future going to be jumping in and helping the U.S. with some of their tech stuff, as well as sort of expanding that relationship to give a more North American-based support rather than a strict Canadian-U.S. thing. And I think it's going to take some time and some exposure to get people excited about the MacDev product. But I mean, I'll be honest, we've always had the best markers. Even when we shot Vanquishes, they shot better than everybody else. It's just because we had great factory support. When we switched over to PE, I mean, you can't say a bad thing about PE markers. They're great. They're reliable. You lube them, you go shoot people with them. They're super easy. I was really nervous when we first brought in the MacDev stuff because I'm like, oh, I've heard all these bad things. I'm not really sure. And the Prime XDS out of the box is phenomenal. It's crazy fast. It's crazy accurate. Super easy to take apart. It's got lots of cool proprietary features like when you have the eyes and the detents in, it creates a complete seal in the breech. You can technically, you can run water down it. to clean out the breach, which is, I mean, at an event's huge. The board is encapsulated, so you don't have to worry about getting wet if you're playing in the rain. The adjustable fork, like there's just lots of really, really cool features that, you know, being involved in the industry in a great deal, I'd never even heard of. Like, how did I not know about any of this stuff? But I think what really impressed me is they released a new marker this year, the XDR, which is sort of a clone sort of based mid-end marker. And they did a few things, frankly, not well on it. The release didn't go well, but they communicated and let people know, and then they became regular with their communications. You know, there were some issues with the mech frames off the hop. They're not super fast, they're not super adjustable, but within months they're already releasing free updates, right? So you can, you know, if you've bought an XDR from us, get in touch with us, and there's a new pin for the engine coming that will, or for the valve coming that will double the speed of the gun in the mech. That's included for free, right? So there's lots of after-sale support. They didn't just put a product in your hand and walk away and say, well, until the next one comes out, you're on your own. That kind of stuff really impresses me, because it shows that, you know, how the product is viewed is important to them, and that the product works is important to them. And, you know, I've always loved, right? You have to stand behind what you're putting out there. And Bork is the sort of the lead designer, is always working on new stuff and looking at ways to make what we have better and faster and more efficient. And he makes great stuff. The other thing that's really cool about MacDev is they have a really passionate community. The people who love MacDev love MacDev. They make Planet Eclipse fanboys look like tame. You know, they're super loyal and they're on it, and I love that, right? I mean, passion is one of the coolest things about paintball, and having that built into a brand is super cool. So I'm excited for the next, you know, couple of years and see what we can do with it. And we've had lots of experience building brands with the group of guys, including yourself, that we run with. So I think it's a really good opportunity for us and for MacDev. So if you see us at an event, we almost always have a couple, one if not two loaners ready to go. I don't want you, I mean, obviously I want you to buy a gun. Like, feel free, ntensitycustoms.com. But I mean, it's a lot of money, right? So if you want, come out, I'll give you one to go shoot. You can shoot out the chronograph. You want to go play an insertion with it, go for it. Because I know you're going to like it. I'm confident in that. Anybody I've put a gun in their hands to go shoot, they've ended up buying a gun. So I'm comfortable with that. But I want you to be happy with it. I don't want you to buy it because it's cool or because it looks cool. I want you to go out and shoot and be like, yeah, this is what I want. I like the way it shoots. And if you don't like it, tell me why you don't like it. And we'll see if, you know, if it's something that can be addressed, or if it's something we need to put up in feedback at a higher level to address in the next round of changes or the next new marker that comes out. So, you know, being the exclusive distributor, we have the right to force that stuff up the pipeline. Say, hey, you know, our customers are saying they want this. And frankly, I plan to use that as much as possible to make sure we're putting out the best product. So, yeah, I mean, that's a cool thing. Again, it's been hard the last couple of years, right? Because COVID has really messed with everything and made life difficult. So next year, I feel like it's going to be the first real year we've had in a couple of years. So I'm excited to see how some of this stuff moves, and what people's take is on it. So, yeah, it's a neat time.
Yeah, like you said, I definitely hope that next year is an actual full run. Hopefully we're well post-COVID and we can get back to normal and see where things take us. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing where a full year will take us.
Anywhere but here. Anywhere but here.
Yep. You already kind of answered this, but we'll just get it right out there. It's a two-part question. One, are you vending at events? And then the big number one question, tech support.
Right. So we're still batting around how that's going to look for next year. Because one thing I did learn doing some vending this year in sort of a limited way was that it's really hard to vend and go play, because there would be nobody around. We're like, all right, let's go play, and I'd come back and there'd be like 17 people waiting. It's like, crap. And you know what? I'm probably the most impatient person in the world, so I'm not going to wait, so I don't expect anybody else to. So I think what I'm looking at doing is we're gonna run a few Canadian events, probably 4 or 5 Canadian events. I'd really like to get out to the East Coast because Brian Campbell and the guys who run the PPL out there have been great supporters. I'd really like to go out there and give it a run. Plus, I've never been out to the East Coast, so I mean, seems like a pretty good excuse to me. We may support a couple of the mech events as well, and then we're going to go play some events in the States where we'll have some limited retail, but it's more about going to be going and playing because I don't want to work all the time, right? I mean, I love to play, and I love to do stupid things, and I can't do stupid things when I'm working, so I need some fun time as well. It's my hope that we're able to do, and my plan to do tech support every event we're at. We're lucky enough to travel with a couple of techs, so bringing a parts kit is not super hard. So I think that's something we'll probably try and fit in at every event we're at. And we'll play the retail in the States by ear. I mean, we're going to go to Living Legends for sure next year, and I think doing the retail there is probably a good idea. It's a pretty big group of people, right?
Yeah.
So stuff like that, but and you know what? I'm just excited to get product in people's hands, right? I mean, I want them to see it. I can talk great things about it, and I can show them the stuff we're wearing, but until they have a chance to lay their hands on it and do it, it's the only way we're really going to grow, right?
Yeah, and that's the one thing that I think that separates you from everybody else. I'm not naming companies or anything like that, but it definitely that separates you from everybody. What's that?
Name a company. Come on. This is your show. Are you trying to be controversial and get views? Isn't that what you do? Take a run at somebody? You're going to take a run at McGill. Come on.
Yeah, I don't want the couch critics coming at me.
Do you know what? Negative feedback will still get you likes.
Yeah, that's true. It'd get me views and stuff, but either way. But that is the one thing that I do like is that like we have the on-site techs, and that is a big thing because it is always, because we all know and we all try it. You try to make sure that your gear's all up and going and running, but damn well when that weekend shows up, you're going to either not have a battery, didn't clean your gun since like last year, your equipment's standing up by itself because you haven't washed it in months. You forget about the stuff, so it is nice to have techs where you can get help so your weekend's not a complete waste.
So little secret, the reason I travel with a tech is because I'm the guy who's like, yeah, I haven't aired the substance the last time, I didn't clean it, help. So that's part of the reason we travel with a tech, right? I mean, we always have, even before we had guys on the team who were techs, we always traveled with a tech because I'm horrible for that stuff, right? Like, it worked really great. I threw it in my bag, I left it for a month, I came back out and played, and I don't know what's going on. We'll check the battery. There's a battery? What?
Yeah.
Right? So we have people for that, right?
Yeah.
And I want to be that people, right? I want to provide that support for casual players, real serious players, especially in the scenario side. Those guys are always prepared. It's us old speedball guys or the old 10-man guys who came back who were just never prepared, right? Because we were so used to having techs at events that we'd be like, hey, broken fix. And then we'd get our gun back and like, this works great, and we go shoot people. Players now are so much better at that. But we want to be there to support those players, right? You're always going to lose something. O-rings, detents, screws, right? All that stuff.
Yeah, something.
Especially us, everybody does it in paintball, right? You go, I'm going to take this apart, and then you drop a screw in the grass at your feet, and you're like, oh, I'm never going to find that again.
Yeah.
We've all done it.
Oh, yeah. We've all done it, and we're all going to keep on doing it. So it doesn't really matter.
No, I haven't. That's why I give my gun to somebody else. That way I don't do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Jaber, what's the screw again?
Yeah.
They didn't let me take it apart now. They're like, here, just let me do it.
Yeah, stop touching stuff.
Yeah, it's pretty much it. It's okay. I'm okay with it. I know where I sit in the world.
Yeah, I'm fine with it. I can't tech my own gun. That's why, like, we got Jaybird and Ben and stuff like that, where it's just like, it's making a click sound. Can you make it not do that?
I don't know what's wrong with this.
Yeah. So right now we're coming to the part of the interview where we're pretty much done. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to hand the channel and the floor completely over to you for you to promote any upcoming new products that you have. Where can people find you on social media, the World Wide Web, everything? Pretty much the floor is yours, and take it away.
Is this where I can say nasty stuff about other people and put it on you? Because you said the floor is mine, right? Is that? I just want to make sure we're on the same page.
Yeah.
I heard that, right?
Yeah, I guess I set myself up for that. Yep.
No. Hey, that's the last time Andrew McGill ever asked that question. Well, obviously we've released a few new things over the. I guess maybe we'll talk about where you can find us first. On the internet at www.ntensitycustoms.com. It's Intensity, N-T-E-N-S-I-T-Y, customs, just like it sounds.com. Some idiot did not put the I on the beginning of it back in 2007 because he thought it looked cooler in the logo that way, and I've regretted it ever since. But unfortunately, everything's already registered that way, everything's already done that way, so I'm stuck with it. So, my own stupidity, right? Hey, if you're going to start a company, think about it before you do your logo, because then you're stuck with it, and it's stupid, and you have to explain to everybody that there's no I, and they're like, but which I? There's two I's. You're like, oh, no, it's so confusing. So anyway, ntensitycustoms.com. On all forms of social media, with the exception of TikTok, because I'm old. Intensity Customs, you'll find us. We're the only one, because again, we're the only one who spell it silly, so it's pretty easy to find. Yeah, so those are the big ways to find us. Obviously, the new stuff is the MacDev stuff, and the immortalair. And in terms of our own products, we've released a couple of things over the time of the pandemic. The big one that came out this year for us was the pack, and it's sold like crazy. Look at product placement. I'm trying to knock everything off. So one of the things that we did different about the pack is we've actually put a reinforcing loop in the little outside elastic holders. And the big thing for scenario players, well, at least scenario players like me, is I would always lose my pods because I could never get them back in there on a standard pack, and I hated walking around with like 10 pods jammed in the back of my jersey. And I'd always be like, oh, I'm going to go back and get those, and then some little rat would come along behind me and steal my pods. And now, I'm sure you all saw the ads for Cup where pods are going for $3 a piece, right? So my invention is sort of timely, because the thing is you can actually refill those while you're on the field. So you don't have to worry about losing pods or dropping pods and that sort of stuff. So that was a big thing. And then building up the stability, so when you're going out for a final battle and you want to carry 13, 15 pods, you can do that without stuff flying all over the place and flopping around and bouncing out. That's why stuff runs. If you ever watch any NXL video or any speedball video, and you'll see guys dropping pods when they run, and that's exactly what happens, is the pack is bouncing up and down, and those elastic things come loose and the pods just drop out, right? Nobody wants to throw pods on the ground, nobody wants to throw paint on the ground, so we've built a pack that sort of fixes that. And as I sort of alluded to earlier, we went through an embarrassing number of changes to that pack. And I remember when I first released it, I said, it was 3 years in the making, and somebody commented, what takes 3 years to make in a pack? I'm like, oh, try developing a pack and you'll find out. Right? I found the wrong way to do everything up front. But it turned out to be a pretty good product in the end, which was, I was super happy with. We've got a few new things coming down the pipe that, I can sort of half talk about. We've got a new tactical pant. So that'll put us at 4 different varieties of pants: two joggers, an older style traditional paintball pant, and the new tactical pant. And the cool thing about the new tactical pant is it'll actually hold 2 double stacked 4 mags of the die-dam mags, or the CF mags for the Planet Eclipse guns. Probably hold the other ones, but I haven't tested them, so I don't say I can. In each leg, plus it's a separate squeegee holder, so you can actually carry 8 mags with you when you play, if you're playing mag-fed. And that's got a couple of utility pockets. But again, a little bit of padding in the knees, a little bit of padding in the groin, super light, lots of venting, so they're comfortable to play year-round in. So those will probably be hitting the website in black in a sort of a tiger stripe pattern before Black Friday. And then we finally did the final test on our new protective. It's the Guardian protective line, and I'm not going to show that off yet, but because it's going to come out just after Christmas. But we ran that in the prototype version and then the pre-production version all season, and it's got lots of cool features. You know, things like making sure that the pads don't give you that little silicone bite on the back of the leg. You can wear them all day; they don't slide down. The arm pads have a couple of cool options that nobody else has right now. And it falls back into the same thing that we always said, right? If I can't make something different or better than what's already out there, what's the point? You know, if it's just another pair of arm pads or another pair of knee pads and it's like everybody else's stuff, just buy somebody else's stuff, right? It just doesn't make sense to throw it out on the market and dilute it down. You know, I want to do something different. And their stuff may not be for everybody, but, you know, the fact is, you know, it was actually one of the first products, the pack and the pads that we actually sent outside our little group to have tested, because I hate sending stuff out there because I hate getting bad news. So, you know, there's nothing worse than putting your heart and soul into something and then sending it out to a bunch of people and everybody's like, oh, it sucks, why are you doing it? I'm like, oh, it hurts so bad. But we didn't get that. We got lots of good feedback, so those will be out next year. And there's like a couple of other small things, but we did some gloves this year which are super cheapy. They're awesome. Those will also be up on the website before Black Friday. But I think over the winter we're going to focus more on having a more normal year next year and that sort of stuff. We're also going to do some this sounds funny coming from a guy who's been sponsored for most of his paintball career, including a lot of years as a factory team player. I think sponsorship is the bane of paintball, and I think sponsorship has done more harm than good to mom and pop shops, because in the old days, in order to get a sponsorship, you used to basically have to be connected to a field. You'd have to do work there, the field would have to refer you, and you sort of earned what you got. And now for everybody sponsorship is essentially a discounted product. And then what happens is you sell that stuff and there's always one jerk off on the team. Can I say jerk off here?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
There's always one jerk off on the team who's wearing a different brand of pant, doesn't care, and doesn't, you know, talk shit about your stuff, and then it puts the whole team in a bad light. So we sort of, with the exception of a couple of very exclusive people and teams, have sort of shied away from that. But I've always been looking for ways to promote teams and for them to, you know, if they're willing to put in the work to put stuff back in their own pocket. So what we're going to do this year is build a referral program. So if you, Andrew McGill, send a team to me and they buy jerseys, I'm going to give you, depending on what products you have bought from me in your order, I'm going to give you a cut of their order. So, you know, if you do head to toe with guns, you're going to get a bigger cut than if you just do jerseys, right? And for those teams that do a good job representing us, they're going to get codes that they can give out. And, you know, everybody now knows what an affiliate code is, right? You buy your product from my website, I get a little cut. So we're going to give it an affiliate code. So, McGill, you're one of my best customers. I'm going to give you an affiliate code. What that means is anybody you give that code to is going to save some money, and then you're going to get a cut of that sale.
Nice.
And that way, you know, there's no sponsorship involved. If you want to go out and hustle and send teams our way and they buy stuff, you're going to get money back in your pocket. Right?
Yep.
So the goal is, if you want to go work really hard, then you're going to put money in your pocket. And if you're happy just buying your jerseys and going out and playing and not saying a thing about it, then, you know, we'll give you a great price and you'll be happy with the jerseys you get. I looked and I couldn't find a place where anything like that had ever been done in paintball or sort of advertised before. And so we're going to give that a go. We're also going to continue our support of the EPPL league out there with the contingency program, meaning that if you buy your stuff from us, you play in that event, you send us a picture that you've purchased from a photographer, you have to purchase the rights from it because we have to be able to use it. Don't rip off some poor photographer, they're out there working hard. We'll give you a percentage of your jerseys back. And if you win the whole series, for instance, the EPPL is 5 events, you win the whole series, you win every event, you'd actually get free jerseys. So
nice.
trying to do things like that, right? Ways to shake it up, and for the guys who want to hustle, give them an opportunity to make some money. For the guys who are happy just going out and playing, they don't have to do anything, right? There's no obligation to post pictures or, I mean, we were doing Empire stuff back in the day, and every week it was like, all right, what hashtags do we use this week? And we would get the push out from Empire. You got to do this, you got to do this, you got to promote this, and that's not only from the player's perspective, that's a lot of work and really easy to screw up if you got 10 guys on a team. But from the promoter's perspective, that means every Monday I got to know who's at what events. I got to be pushing that stuff out, and frankly, it takes a ton of time, and there's no value in it. It also keeps us honest in terms of putting out good product and stuff. Because the fact is if we give you something that's shit, you're certainly not going to send anybody else to buy it.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you got to love what you're getting in order to send somebody there. There's very few people in the world who are going to be like, oh, go to Intensity Customs because, well, did you like your stuff? No, it's shit, but I want to get the $25 for your jersey. Right?
Yeah.
It just doesn't work like that. So, we're still working out the particulars of how we're going to work the percentages because we don't want to, frankly, I don't want to lose money. My wife gets angry when our kids don't eat. So, and they're old now and they hit hard, so I don't, I may need them for when I go into the home. So, but it's stuff like that we're always looking to try and innovate. And I truly believe that, if we can make it easier and cheaper for players to play or put money back in their pockets, they're going to play more. And if they play more, field owners are going to make more money. Field owners make more money, they're going to spend more money. We get better events and bigger events, and then people are having a good time and more people come, and then everybody's making more money. It's all about growing the pie, right?
Yeah.
If you can make the pie bigger, everybody gets more, everybody gets to eat more, and everybody has more fun. And that's how I view it. I may be wrong, and we'll find out next year. I'd love to revisit this after next season to see whether it was a smashing success or it was the stupidest thing I've ever done. As I mentioned, I'm good at doing stupid things, but I couldn't find a better way to put money back in people's pockets, right?
Yeah.
And frankly, it helps grow me as well, to be completely honest. That's, more business is always good.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that the program anyway, it sounds great. I wish that it was something like that was out there while I was coming up in it, because like how you said before, it was if you wanted the sponsorship, you had to be tied to a paintball field, and then you'd have to go out and do so many hours of work days. And like you said, you always had that one or two guys that don't show up, don't do anything, and the whole team pays for it. So this way, I think it's...
And on top of that, there's always those asshats, whatever, I don't know what I can say. I'm trying to keep your ratings up here. I know you're a family channel. But, no, on top of that, the fact is if you're paying for your gear, you're less likely to go out and dump it below market value. That's what, in my opinion, that's what killed paintball, right? Is, the big companies would do these huge deals with any team that was willing to sign at a discount. These guys would buy tons of gear, and then they would sell it cheaper than stores could buy it for.
Yeah.
So you would see, back then it was forums. Facebook was still in its infancy, right? But back then, when you go on PB Nation or if you're Canada, T-Dot Ballers, and you'd see guns for sale, brand new in box, cheaper than what a local store could buy it for. So why would you buy it from a local store, right?
Yeah.
That really hurt us. I think we're still paying for that. And I think lots of the big companies have gotten smarter on how they do sponsorship. But for the most part, they're, now that they're direct to consumer, they're all about any sale is a sale, right? And if they lose a little bit of money, they don't really care about the dealers. And I think if you talk to lots of dealers, they would feel that that's the case. And I never want to do that. I never want to undermine, first of all, somebody who is brave enough to open a store and go in every day and work it, because it's hard. That's, I like to tease people. Ross Jones from Boston Paintball in particular, because he gets really defensive about it. But I always tell him, because he's a field owner and a pro shop owner, he can swim at night in a swimming pool full of money.
Yeah.
And he gets really bent out of shape about it. But it's just simply not true, right? Owning a paintball field is a hard life. You work every weekend. You put up with tons of bullshit from lots of idiots just so you can support the few people that do come out, right? If I ever ran another paintball business, I wouldn't cater to people like you and I, to be honest. It would be birthday party after birthday party after birthday party and renters. Those guys have so much fun, and especially with the new stuff like the jelly ball and the low impact stuff. That stuff is so much fun to play.
Oh yeah.
Like, it's just pure, right? You go out and you shoot people, and you know, there's no hard feelings after you trade with somebody, and there's nothing better or worse, I guess depending on the side of it you're on, than, you know, getting blown up by a 10-year-old kid, right? That kid's like just the happiest kid in the world, and I'm like, oh great, I need a beer. This 10-year-old's back. But it's, I mean, that's the thing, right? You know, I think back to when I ran birthday parties for my kids at Flag Swipe. And every one of those birthday parties turned into at least, you know, we'd invite 10, 12 kids, and that turned into at least 3 more parties, right? Whereas, you know, tournament players and scenario ballers aren't typically good at bringing out new players, because, you know, we sort of found our group. I'm just as much to blame for that, right? When I go to an event, or if I'm going out to play for fun, I want to play with my people. I like to hang out with my people. I want to be the people who I know I'm not going to offend when I say something, or, you know, I can be comfortable, and we're set in our ways, and lots of tournament players are like that as well. So I think, you know, that focus is super important for business, and I think lots of guys are catching on, and it's hurting the feelings of tournament players and scenario players who are more serious, but if those businesses don't take care of themselves, they're not going to be around. So we got to let them do what they're going to do.
Yep. Yeah, no, that's great. Yeah, no, that's great. I'm big time. I'm looking forward to this post-COVID, seeing what a full year brings, everything. I'm definitely looking forward to your program to see if the program works, like you said, and maybe in a year we can sit down again and discuss, and like you said, find out if it worked awesome or if it was a huge flop. So,
well, why don't we check in mid-season? We'll hook up at an event, and we'll see how things are going.
That sounds perfect. We can do that.
No pressure at all, right?
No,
I can't fail.
Yeah, no pressure. Yeah, because
I blame it on you either way.
Well, yeah, that's okay. I got big shoulders.
No, you don't.
Okay, I got thick skin. Ish.
Okay. Well, you might. Yeah, you've been around with us for a long time, so you certainly do that. I'll give you that one.
Yeah, I got thick skin, so that works. So, well, that is the end of the interview. So I can't thank you enough, Shawn, for sitting down with me and discussing your history, your company, what's coming up in the future. I hope everybody that's watching this has enjoyed this. I've definitely learned things. I hope everybody else has learned stuff. So thank you so much.
Yeah, no, thanks for having me. And for all you people out there watching, make sure you ring the little bell below and like the videos, so McGill knows that you're liking what he's doing, and he does more of that kind of content. It's the only way he knows. He can't read, so the comments don't really do anything. So thanks for having me, McGill. I appreciate your time, man.
No problem. Thank you.
Well, that's it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you learned a couple things. I know I sure did. So I hope you enjoy these type of videos, because I have, like I said at the beginning of the video, I have a couple more of these up my sleeve. So I really do hope you enjoy them, because I got a couple more coming your guys' way. So thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe button so you can stay up to date with everything coming out of this channel. And I will see you guys next video. Peace.